Evening, folks. How are we?
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
What is happening?
Well, this is, of course, Fright Night, and unlike usual, no preamble, no spinning our wheels to get up to speed. Nothing more than my thanks for being here. It's been a long day for me. It's been a long week, and I am, as always, appreciative of your talents and your efforts and the massive amounts of entertainment that this hobby of ours provides me, and hopefully you as well, in regards to helping enjoy this evening. This is officially Soup City Sins, Season 12. Blazing blind eyes seeing cold lights. As the Coterie stand outside of the 5-story entranceway to the towering scraper in which Nash supposedly has an apartment, standing elbow to elbow with his most recent beloved, empty-headed, vacuous, modern professional, you all gaze at the splendor that is the rarefied air of those who live in the tiny boxes in the sky. It doesn't have the character or the history or even the importance to the city that Sophia's place on Sheridan has. It doesn't have the foundational support of the area around it. It towers over the neighborhood, an eyesore, glaringly obvious signs of ludicrous wealth for no purpose other than having ludicrous wealth. It blocks the light of the sun at various hours of the day, cooling the neighborhood and ruining what little view was possible from the homes scattered about. It is very much a living embodiment as to how the anarchs as a whole view the tower. And she enters in with the door code, taking the secreted key, and you all make your way up to what you expect to be another small box that people pay ludicrously for just to have the status of living in such a place. When the door swings open, the warm, all too warm, designed apartment spills out in front of you. It is a home. There is memorabilia that even those without any artistic merit or value know are the authentic items. This is a secret bolt hole in the sky, a place of actual safety and security. The number of bolts and deadlocks on the door signifying that outside of an actual ramming robot or a very old kindred, that door would withstand an onslaught of armies. The walls being, unlike all of the others that you've passed, simple plasterboard and aluminum bracing. No, this has been refortified. There is easily 3 or 4 inches thick, solid brick holding this place as inviolate from all of its neighbors. Having passed the many doors from the elevator to here, you expect that this place is small, empty, vacuous. But it is clear that someone has purchased all of the other apartments on this side of the building. The entire wall in front of you, across the room, is one of light, air, and glass. It takes up the entirety of this side of the floor of the building. It is a mansion, an estate, a plantation away from all things, looking down on all the small people, with history strewn about as if they were child's toys, meaning nothing to any of the empty, modern humans that would easily traipse through the door just taking in the party. The music still playing in the background as if someone does not like to come home to an empty home, as if entering to music and sound makes it all the more safe, secure, a haven. And something about that, needing to leave the lights on, needing to leave music playing, is supernally sad. There's a loneliness that pervades that very aspect, needing there to be something or someone to come home to. And as you entering, so yeah, like the bathroom's down there, but the water usually doesn't work. The only thing that really, really works really, really well is the shower. And oh my God, the shower pressure is to die for. Of course, he keeps it too hot, like everything else. Can you tell that he clearly does never have to pay his own utility bills? I mean, who keeps their apartment at 85 degrees? Are you serious? Anyway, make yourselves at home. There's liquor in the cabinet. I'm going to head upstairs and put on something a little bit more comforting for him. And she looks at you, Hestia. You know what he likes. Something short and shimmy, shows off the legs. Oh, well, maybe if you were a little taller. But anyway, I'll be down in a second.
Well, should have to roll reflex on something because if not, somebody's got to grab her. Why though? I thought we were going to a club, and that's what we had asked about. The club that Caspian knew was a fetish club called The Apartment, not an actual apartment. So the fact that we come to an actual apartment has her fucking confused. Like, this is not where we were going. How did we get here? And then, two, yeah, that little last dig got her ready to yank somebody's hair out.
So, who else thinks that maybe we should let him kill her before we spring the surprise?
Well,
Are you being serious or are you joking? I cannot tell.
If we hadn't thrown his phone out the window, we would snap pictures of us at his place with her and then send them motherfuckers and see how quick he comes running. Because if he doesn't really care about her and we could kill her anyway. Right?
I don't know why you would think that he cares about her.
If you let her into this place, do you feel what's going on here? I know you feel what's going on here because we had that same sort of sense. This place is a place of fucking power. You don't let dumb into power unless you give at least a little bit of a shit about them.
Well, maybe he just seeks to add her to the power.
Well, that might be true, but if you want to add somebody to your power, you at least have to see potential in them. Care about them a little. See they're worthy of it.
I guess I am conditioned and trained to view their usefulness as not something that ends after I killed them.
Look, it's true, but I simply mean that if he thinks she's worthy of being used, care little.
Well, clearly he has some sort of interest in her, so perhaps you could lure him by threatening her. Perhaps she is an anchor for him, but I would doubt it.
I have a suspicion that it's a little bit more than just a throwaway fling for him, considering that he was using her to spy on us. She is at least marginally more than just another snack for him.
One ever suspects the airhead.
Perhaps he assumed that she was so vapid that she would get caught, and now we are right where he wants us.
Something tells me.
I
Now,
know
I-
his
Seems like a
buzzkill.
pretty.
I could be wrong, but something tells me he's not that smart.
Well, neither is she, so maybe that is why they are in love.
Huh. Maybe he does care for her.
And then from upstairs, can somebody pour me a vodka tonic? The gin's on the second shelf.
Sophia will. Wait, is Arsenio or not Arsenio? Silvio, is he with us?
Mm-hmm. He
She will-
literally facepalmed when she said vodka
Yeah.
tonic.
She just asked.
She will. Yeah, Sophia will look at Silvio and like, is there a gin in a vodka tonic? I have no idea. I've never made my own drink.
Wait.
What?
Melinda has that same confusion for the same exact reason.
I try not to speak ill of the dead, especially before the dead. But perhaps you'll be doing the world a favor in removing the lowest common denominator here.
This is what I say before. Maybe he'd do us favor, take her out of pool before she breeds, yes?
I mean, if she's making it with one of us, she's not going to breed, so...
Do you want that to happen? I feel like that would be even worse.
It would certainly be interesting.
While they're discussing, Hestia is going to do the sentient scene and start looking for shit. Like going around the apartment and looking for like little places of flowers that might be tied to him that she can mess with.
There is a decidedly less than stereotypical feminine touch to the decor. It is all well made and seemingly hand carved, precision skilled carpentry. There are big slabs of actual driftwood carved into tables and end tables, and there are chairs that are designed to be comfortable for a single person and extremely comfortable for multiple persons. There's a couch long enough and wide enough, deep enough that you can easily, if you were still living, fall asleep on and drift away for several days. The countertops are clearly lovingly maintained, as they are solid wood shellacked to within a pure crystallized shine. The accoutrements in the cabinet, for those who actually bother to open it, are a full bar that is clearly upkept, as none of the bottles have any dust, including those hiding at the back. The glasses are all washed clearly by hand, as there's no dishwasher anywhere in the place. And along the walls, hidden amongst the various movie posters, are pictures, landscape, photographs on various media, letting you know that these were taken by those actual cameras. These are not prints or copies. The movie posters clearly obfuscating them by being big and bright and mentioning movies that go back to the early 20s, but those photos are actual photos. Those are actually real, honest pictures, which you don't see in this day and age due to all of the digital media. Everything is a copy of a copy. Nothing's original. And there, amongst all of the pictures, is a tombstone. Simple header. Mokrid. My love, my heart. And there's a date. That is today. But in 1856, the tombstone overlooks a cliff over what looks to be an ocean, but could easily be a very large lake. And for those of you who have grown up or lived in Chicago for any significant amount of time, there is no doubt you know where that was. There's only one cemetery or graveyard old enough to have had that view. Though things have since changed since the shoreline was extended, since the north and southern portions of the lake were man-made into the shape they currently inhabit and more land was added. But there is only one place, Graceland, that is old enough and as consecrated enough to have a tombstone that old. Amongst the many small bric-a-brac are actual hand-tool German pens dating back to the late 1700s. There is actual real history of a value enough to be in a museum, the Smithsonian, or even the Louvre, based on how they're such a rarity in today's age, something that has lasted that long. And for those of you bent toward the supernatural, those of you with an eye on the other worlds that are but our own, each of these items have been lovingly entrusted, have been cared for, and poured into the energies to maintain them. They are each, in their own way, potential fetters because of the amount of emotion, time, and effort put into them. You are sure that they have a Shadowland version of themselves in existing because the owner of them have poured so much of themselves into them. Do you all go digging through the drawers, or do you wait patiently for her to come looking for her vodka tonic?
Melinda waits.
Lucio is absolutely going through the drawers.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
she's like watching them look, but like she's waiting.
Sophia is mentally cataloging things that glow brighter than others.
Mary will dig out a sketchbook and find something interesting to, sketch.
I'm like going through the drawers, but I'm looking for another phone. Like another cell phone, because you can burn out the window. So there has to be like another little burner bullshit ass phone around somewhere. So that it has his number. Because I have a plan.
Unfortunately, he really is that old and really is that much of a tower, right? He doesn't actually have any phone save the one he uses per night. What you all do find, and very easily, are a veritable cornucopia of IDs. College IDs, state IDs, little library cards that actually have the picture on them. And they are all of a wide variety of young women. Typically 18 to 24, first, second, maybe third or final year of college. Their youth blazing like a fire out of the picture, looking at someone so innocent, so young, so much potential lying ahead of them. And the one thing that stands out to Lucio is that he's seen these faces before. There is a stack of manila folders with victims disappeared and otherwise missing. There is a stack of missing persons or people who had been accosted but survived long enough to make it to medical assistance. There are earrings and bracelets and bangles. There's pinky rings and necklaces scattered throughout the drawers. Small treasures of souls snuffed out potentially too soon. There is a veritable mountain of remnants of people, moments shared and given away freely, taken from their prime. The one thing they have aside of their youth, the one thing that is even more heartbreaking than the others, The place, while kept warm, would not permeate the items and artifacts. They're cool to the touch, but not as cool as they should be to have been put in a drawer or several drawers and forgotten. These things are touched and looked at, fondled even, on a near constant basis, as if someone is longing or pining for that one true instance of actual. So I was thinking, instead of a vodka tonic, maybe we could do we were doing Vegas bombs tonight. We don't have any energy drink, but we do have Tab. And she comes down wearing a peekaboo nightie with a very clearly not hers kimono robe, that because it would normally only come to mid-thigh on its owner, comes to just above her knee. She has it tied loosely around her waist, almost as if there was some spark of a thought to be titillating to her guests, as if that was a real actuality. So why is no one drinking? And why do you guys have this sad music on? The record player's over there. Put on something.
You got any coconut rum? I can try and make something a little lively, Malibu Bay Breeze, maybe? And as he's saying that, Lucio is trying to find if there is any ID for Honor Mercer among all of these.
Ew, my grandma drinks that. That's disgusting. We got real stuff. There's some fire shots up there. Let's do fire shots.
It is okay. He will put some tab in it, all right? It'll be good.
Melinda is looking at Sophia like, did Lucio say real words? she doesn't say that, but she's like telepathically, like, looking in your eyes saying that, you know what I mean?
She replies with a tiny shrug.
I don't know. He could have made that up for all I know.
I ain't done it in a couple of years, but if you like, I can go ahead and make you all a couple of drinks. Something that won't dull the edge, but keep you all lively. Ew, you look like somebody's granddad. I can't see how you two are dating, but whatever. And she moves over to the record player, which is an actual full-fledged stereophonic system. The big wooden chest.
Some people like the water, you know? Yeah?
Yeah, but I don't think he has a dad bod. I don't see any gut on him. Like, maybe with that tight ass, he might have something going for him, but I don't really know.
You know, it's like...
And she flounces into the chair that was clearly made for all sorts of lewd and lascivious activities, pulling her legs up underneath herself. Like, really, I was going to play some music, but I think somebody else should play it because he doesn't have anything good. He only has, like, that Sinatra, Mel Torme shit. Because someone look through and find something interesting, or I have my phone. And she starts immediately while she's talking, swiping through her phone, finding...
Melinda remembers something... that Joel had told her he liked once, and she's like, do you have any Goya cat?
Oh yeah! Oh my god! And she swipes.
She's like
Sophia noticing that she has another phone, wonders where that second phone came from because the other one went out the window in the limo. And kind of gets a little closer. Hey, I've misplaced my phone. Can I borrow yours for like a quick second?
No. Miss Clumsy Fingers dropping everything. Luckily, why I didn't care is because I would always keep it back up over here because, you know, he doesn't like phones, a tablet. I bought him one, and you know what he did? He broke it. Not accidentally like you, but literally just broke it. He bent it over his knee. It was the maddest I've ever seen him. Outside of that time, I actually nicked him when I was going down. It was just horrible. He was screaming. And he said something in like French or Irish or something else, Russian.
Yeah, really compelled.
Mm-hmm. You're using compel too.
I have him giving me the phone.
Excellent. Would you be so kind as to let me bring up the resistance roll because you are taking her livelihood for a second time after destroying her first one.
To be fair, I destroyed her first one.
You all look the same to her. Potential competition for the love of her life. At least for this week. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your charisma plus dominate?
Melinda is going to just like look at her and be like, so, what is your favorite Doya cake song?
Are you serious? Like the only one you really need to know is either beat or need to know. Oh my god! Can just the way
I like you need to know good, yeah. Also the one with Caesar, is that her name?
you mean SZA? Oh my
SZA.
god! Don't tell me you're a SZA fan.
I like that one. No, I just like that song. I like how she tricked me and Impossible.
Yeah, but I heard that she has a ghostwriter. It's just ridiculous. And as she's talking, her hand is extended. The phone is in it. YouTube is up.
Out of character. Would that distract her enough to help with the role?
It wouldn't, because she needs eye contact, and the distraction of thought takes her mind up it, but the resistance is still there. It is still her phone. It is still everything about her. The need for her to have a backup here is partially because of what she knows was going to happen if it was found. There's a protocol clearly in place that she's violating. She's showing out like a child with her friends over that aren't supposed to be over. And she's very clearly a brat-minded person. As if the anger and the punishment is a reward unto itself.
So wait, did I win that roll or no?
Yes, her hand is extended with the phone in it as she's talking to Melinda about Doja Cat and SZA.
And anymore. And I'm walking away with it before she can catch me.
I'm helping.
And while this is all happening,
Tell me, does place have balcony?
no, the windows don't even open. And he's got these stupid metal blinds that close down, ruining the view. But, you know, he's security minded. I suppose that's like the best way to be. He says that it keeps people from taking pictures during the day and what have you.
Right, you would hate if someone was to walk by and take a picture through your window, yeah.
It does. It is kind of creepy, yes.
All of the paparazzi, you wouldn't believe. Like, 2 weeks ago. No, it was a week ago. No, it was the other day. I just say the other day. And we were at the bar like usual when I first met him, and then these guys in like this crazy brown and gold outfit, they talked to him outside, and he was so nervous. He made us leave right away. That's why he had me keeping an eye out. I thought initially with you all talking to that little creepy guy from downstairs at the bar that you were one of those brown people, but you're not. So, and I recognize you. Hey, where's my phone?
Tienes receta de alma?
Oh my God, this chair eats things. And she gets up and bends over with no mind at all towards the fact that her negligee and the kimono robe that she's wearing ride up immediately, even with her height, to more than indecent levels. And she bends from the waist, her knees only slightly bent, as she begins to dig down into the chair and move the cushions around, reaching further and further, exposing more and more of her, well, charms.
Clearly does not defeat on the brains.
Walks past Lucio and leans in. I know that'll solve a lot of cases. So if you can find a way to use that without it coming back on us, do so. I'm about to smack the hornet's nest, as it were. So do whatever you're going to do real quick, because we'll see what happens after I do what I'm about to do. And Hestia will go post herself in front of that picture on the wall with a big ass grin and snap a picture of it behind her. And then a couple more other pictures of things that she well loved, including having her dagger out across one of the little tables that he lovingly waxes. She's not going to dig into it just yet, but just like pose it and then send. With the text message, look who we found. This is a nice place. And then that's it. Let's see what happens.
Melinda is continue to distract her, and it's like, have you heard of Snow the Product?
Who? I can't even find my phone.
She's a rapper who is from she's a Mexican American. She rap in English and Spanish.
Oh, yeah. I try not to listen to like really too much because my dad says that like it gets in your head. But anyway, help me find my phone, please.
I'll help, yes. And
Did you look in bathroom?
I didn't even go to the bathroom. I was holding it.
The phone or the bathroom?
The bathroom. If I go, I'm gonna be there a while. Oh my! Oh. She stomps upstairs.
It's too much information.
Disappearing once more, leaving you all with your presence of mind and your relative privacy. What is it that you guys are doing?
Lucio's still trying to find that specific ID. And he's also trying to remember if he brought any sort of way to take photographs with him.
Sophia is going to check out this picture of this gravesite and see if she can ascertain who it belongs to.
Well, the name alone and its significance states that it's someone that our dear Nash loved it incredibly. And that seems to be very few people, barring the fact that the phone in Hesh's hand is lit up 3 or 4 times as you all have been spinning your wheels, looking over the apartment and speaking with, well, her.
But it's lit up in my hand. Is that me sending things or is something coming in?
Looking at the new phone in your hand, here's the question: have you blushed for the evening?
What is what's going on? Like me blending in and looking for Vivian stuff, so I probably would have.
Would you be so kind as go ahead and make a rouse roll for me for that blush? So blushed as you are, having remembered that your cell phone, or most modern cell phones, will not work without that semblance of life. You tempt the beast. You poke it just enough to get a result that makes you seem all the more flush with life. And then, as such, your touch navigates the touchscreen, the texts are sent, and as the phone alights in your hand, you raise it up to your face and realize that she doesn't even have face recognition on her newest phone. She, in fact, has an open phone because it's clear that no one save her typically has it. The message that comes through: leave, period. The second one that comes through: all will be forgiven if, period.
She reads it out loud to everybody. He says, leave. All will be forgiven if we do. What did I say there?
And as you read that off, Lucio collates and collects what information he can. The various faces, the ghosts. Every moment in his life every moment in this version of his life has originated with the idea of speaking for those who can't speak for themselves. And here in this mass of treasures, of moments stolen, of lives ended, are the voices of hundreds of women, hundreds of young girls growing into women who have not had the opportunity to speak for themselves. Their voices silently screaming across the years to you. Because looking at the IDs, you realize that you've seen a DePaul ID from 1972. You've seen a Northwestern ID from 1965, all the way to the current day. These items, these treasures, these lives that have been affected by one kindred. The idea is unsettling as you realize this is simply one kindred, magnified by simply the kindred in this room. That's easily several thousands of lives affected, especially as in his early days, in his burgeoning days of not accepting being dead, the blood that he obtained, blood that he took and stole and drank greedily and readily in an attempt to hold that moral balance of never hunting, of never feeding on a human directly. That blood, for the most part, was medical, taken from trauma units and ambulances and stolen from blood donors and drives across the city. And while it doesn't seem like much, Lucio's living proof that if a butterfly flaps its wings in the South Orient, on the South Asian Sea, that there will be storms elsewhere. That for one decision, hundreds, thousands of lives can be lost. That there is a chance with each decision, with each year, with each day that a kindred is allowed to exist, that lives will be irrevocably changed, if not lost. You all are still dealing with the ramifications of just one soul, one vengeful family, one person driven to the limits of sanity because of that loss. And here's proof that hundreds, potentially thousands of people, children's family, have been irrevocably changed by just one kindred. And while that's being mulled over and rationalized and understood by Lucio, Miriam has chosen a picture that doesn't seem to be much of anything to anyone who's not artistically minded. The interplay of light and shadow on that picture is enough to catch the eye because there's a striking contrast, the shadows forming a negative space through the center of the photograph. And everyone has grown up reading those novels, Treasure Island and The Black Swan, and the various other fantasies and mythologies that even loosely touch on Vikings and pirates in those times long since past. One of the many things for the buried treasure is the idea that it is buried and marked with an X. And as she sketches, she gives herself over to the natural urge to capture beauty in all of its wild vagaries. She realizes it's not just a picture. It's part of a whole, a collage, a map, as it were. She begins moving through the apartment, looking at one picture then the next. And as they connect, as they abut each other at several different times of day, someone clearly mapped through a path through the city, leading and culminating in what looks to be a simple field, but it's so much more. No one would have put that much effort into a thing if there was nothing of value there. No one would have laid out the primrose path for someone to follow if they were not trying to remember how to get to that location.
Pause in her tracks for a moment. Hey, does anyone know where this field might be?
Pascal's gonna come over and take a look while she waits for them to tell her what they want to tell Nash in return. Looking at the whole map, she backs up and uses her own phone, not the borrowed phone, to snap a picture and hold on to it. Does it look familiar though, like the area that he's marked out?
That field, for those of modern era Chicago, doesn't mean all that much. But having lived in the city long enough to have watched it change hands, watching it change its image to the world several hundred times, That field was the site of the last massacre from the Fort Dearborn assault. There were, at that time, what was the city that formed around the trading post for Jean-Baptiste du Sable, was where all of the victims of the war for Chicago, its first time, were buried. It is a place silently of note to those aware of history, and simply a good place to have a picnic for those not. There is a small placard at the sidewalk's edge where that field exists. That small placard lets everyone know what took place there, but no one pauses to stop to read anything tactile in the modern age. Everything, again, is digital. So, as it's not duly noted on most Google Maps, it's just a piece of history lost forever. For some. But you know exactly where that field is. It's currently at the mouth of what is called Bronzeville. And there are hundreds of thousands of trains that roll through the area. There are people who pass by all the time. People who blithely go about their current existence without paying heed to what is simply a stone's throw away. And as the saying goes, the best place to hide anything is right underneath someone's nose.
I think we should take a trip there sometime. Maybe not right now, but sometime. In the meantime, though, we need to figure out what we want to do about his little threat. Because obviously he's threatening. I don't know whether he realizes we're all here or that he just thinks I stumbled across his little friend. But yeah, we need to figure that one out. So, hounds, what shall we do?
Sophia
Miriam.
will look over her shoulder as she calls the hounds together to look, and then she'll go back to looking for this gravesite. Maybe something that belongs to this person. So.
Miriam will shrug. It's like, I'm not even sure he knows who I am.
Tess, what exactly did you say to him to piss him off so much?
I just took some pictures. Oh, I did say we found your little friend, but other than that, no, nothing in particular. Well, he's waiting for an answer of some sort, so I guess I'm going to do this myself. Text back.
I mean, we need some sort of confession from him, so...
Working on it.
How exactly would we get that if we leave?
Just get a text back. I'm writing up a letter, and I will leave. You promise to meet me and find. No questions asked. If not, well, what happened, happened. We'll see who comes out on top. And then,
What address are you sending? What address are you sending?
Reading address.
You said meet you. Where?
He to meet me somewhere. I'm willing to let him either pick or agree so we can pick.
All too soon. A simple where? Question mark.
He's willing to meet me somewhere if we write up the confession and sign it. Of course, I will have backup. That's stupid if you think I'm going to go by myself. But we need to pick a place. In exchange for leaving this one. Which he's really worried about mine too.
Well, are there any neutral grounds?
Do we really want it to be too neutral if things end up going south?
Still have a girl for leverage, yes?
He's never going to show up to an Elysium. I already know that. So suggesting that won't work.
We should let Alexa know about meeting.
He seems to value history and art. What about a museum of some sort?
That's a good idea.
What about Thaddeus's place?
Well, we'd have to get his okay for that first. But it's definitely a possibility.
Wouldn't want to help be a hound and do your job, especially since he gave us this task.
I can always give him a call and ask him if he's okay with this.
What do we think about what I said? Telling Alexa of meeting.
One pick.
Isn't she the one who wants him?
Alexa said that the council wants us to handle. So that's the whole council, including the pen. Because obviously they're tired of him doing this, pointing to all the ideas.
Being a serial killer. Understandable.
You know, that does bring up something that's been bothering me for a while. Hester's looking specifically at Melinda. Remember the night that the thing happened at the club? You said that there's that girl laying out in the back alley, and he didn't seem to want to stop or help her at all. So I'm going to bet her ID is in that pile over there. You could have caught him then. You could have stopped him then. And now we're playing catch up.
Fuck.
We didn't know then.
Melinda knew.
About the girl, but
That's the point. Even one probably should have been acquitted, but like I said, I didn't know it was this bad. He definitely needs to be handled. But like I said, he's only going to get mad the longer he can wait.
So the question remains, where will you have this denizen of time, this monster in the flesh, this image of you in a few decades, if not a few years, who callously disregards the wide bulk of humanity, keeping several pets for themselves along the way? Set adrift from everything that matters to them and brought to what is at that time the modern age. Witness to it, but never actually part of the world around you. Where would you have him meet you? Where are you willing to meet? What are you willing to do?
About the Art Institute.
That works. Then you get a piece of paper and write up the full confession thing. If he signs it, then he signs it. If he doesn't, then we'll take him in anyway. So, penning a quick letter on, she's sure he keeps parts in the paper around there somewhere, because that's just the type of person who is. Pens the confession of, multiple masquerade races, killing multiple humans, and leaving their bodies to be found by the authorities, etc., over the course of however many years it looked like, and then leaving a spot for him to sign it, folds it up, puts it in her pocket, and then texts his family address to the Art Institute.
Also, I misspoke. I meant the Smart Museum of Art, because that's the one that's in Critias's domain.
That one was the one that he met him.
So you text the address. That's clerical tone. Well, that's the voice you hear. The text is considerably shorter. Oh. Okay. Being this close, even though he's not here, the longer you are in the apartment, you can hear the sound of his boots across the well-polished floor. You can imagine him in his crisp white shirts and starched and stiffly creased pants, mopping as if he was on the prow of a ship, as if he's on the deck, making sure that it is clean and spit spot and ship shape. You can imagine him taking the bottles down to polish them almost daily to ensure that there's not a speck of dust. You can imagine him polishing the furniture, making sure everything's properly aligned and in ship shape. While he is cut adrift from society, while he is clearly dispassionate about what happens to those he feeds upon, there are hundreds of small signs of some being that cares, at least about their surroundings, at least about what they're surrounded by. And as you all hear the toilet flush with all of the loud, bombastic volume of someone who goes to the restroom without closing the door, you know that time is growing short. Making it from your location to Hyde Park, down into the southern portions of the city, past Brownsville, past Inglewood, due east, close to the lake, you know should take roughly anywhere from 45 to an hour based on traffic. There's several ways to get there. You can take Lakeshore down and around. You can hop on the Dan Ryan. You could, push from the shove, take State all the way down. But whichever path you take, time is of the essence.
I'm assuming Lucia was unsuccessful in finding Honor Mercer's ID.
No, it's not there.
I see. Alright. We don't have too much time until... You mean we don't have much time until sunrise, right?
Yep. Time is always of the essence.
Right. Where are we gonna be spending the night, fellas?
Hestia looks down at her ample chest, fellas. I didn't know that you saw me that way, but anyway.
Oh my God, you do not want to go in there. I really shouldn't have eaten what I've ate today, but at least it's all out. More room outside than in. I still can't find my phone, and I don't have a drink. Can someone please make me a vodka tonic? I mean, the gin is right there on the second shelf. You guys are all over there in the way.
I think we actually might have to get going soon.
Oh man, that sucks. So I have to wait here by myself? I was gonna put you out when you got home anyway, but still.
Well, at least you'll have some more time to freshen up beforehand.
I use baby wipes. I don't need to freshen up.
Think of it this way. You'll have time to take a nap, so you'll be good and refreshed and full of energy for when he gets home.
Oh, I'm always full of energy, but I know, I guess, whatever. Fine, go have your party without me. I don't care.
Sophia shoots the rest of the group. Are you sure that I can't just kill her? Look.
And I shoot Sophia a no look.
Like, no, you're not sure, or no, I can't kill her.
Yes.
Hestia covers her mouth, blocking it from Lucio, and mouths the word later to Sophia.
She flounces like a child who has been denied a second helping of ice cream, or a child who can't watch their favorite show, or a child who's been told there's only 5 more minutes until bed. The party's over, the lights are being turned down, and they still can't have their way. And she flounces and sits, and there's a rumpling of her clothing, and she crosses one leg over the other, and then the other, and not in the demure ankle connecting way that one should when wearing something so short, but in the way that all but shows the entirety of her left most charming asset. And she pouts. A full-fledged, lip-poking pout. The tears dancing at the corner of her eyes, the frustration of not having her way. And for far too long of a second, it is clear that the immaturity of mind is due her very significantly young age and not being exposed to the world even as it is now. There is an absence of maturity, the antithesis to a calm, mature, rational mind. And Miriam, as the resident artist, would you be so kind as to roll wits and craft?
I would love to.
And as she pouts, and all the absence of age is there on her face, across her body, written into the very fabric of the air she breathes. A sickening realization, one born of modern day ethics and a modern sensibility about these things, hits Miriam. Having sketched many children, having sketched many grandmothers and wives and sisters and brothers of all sorts of age, it has become apparent to Miriam that age is nothing more than a disguise. It hides who you might be and must be taken as just like any other detail of a picture, as nothing more than a detail that can be changed. It can be moved up, it can be moved down, it can be ignored if you so chose. And so, in looking at the structures of her face, and looking at the structures and mannerisms, the skin tone, the pallor, the color of her eyes, having seen Nash, knowing his tall, roguish, rakish, piratical charm from a distance, it becomes glaringly obvious. It becomes all too obvious, and a stomach-churning sensation begins to wash over Miriam as she looks at her face. While it's not an exact match, it's not the same single genetics passed down several generations. There's but one tree you can think of that would produce such features. Feminine though they are, obfuscated by the makeup and the lack of exercise. There's but one path that leads to who this child might be. And it originates with a pirate from Ireland and a love he'd held who died during the assault on Fort Dearborn, and their child growing without them. Their child growing and meeting and marrying and begetting, and down the line until its progeny's progeny sits there pouting as the party is over.
Miriam will pause and watch her for a moment, still as the corpse she is, and arch an eyebrow and make a mental note, because this is important information. Eyes will flicker over towards the painting and back to the girl, and then she will turn to leave.
And as you all ride the elevator down, closing the door behind you with the child pouting and fuming that their party and their punishment will not be coming. They will not be the brat that they hoped to be. They will not have the attention that they sought. And they will be, unfortunately, alone.
I still say we should have kept girl for leverage, or for eating, one of the two.
Not for eating. Leverage.
Who is to say one is not the other?
I am fairly certain leverage. And why he doesn't want her near us, or us near him.
What makes you say that?
Did you observe her features?
Yes.
Now think of Nash's features.
Do we have to?
Just for a moment, superimpose them.
Are you saying what I think you're saying? She is his descendant?
Yes. Almost certain of it.
Yeah, it literally turns green.
And he has her around like that.
Yes.
Ugh.
That's kind of messed up.
Kinda?
Hold the phone.
Sophia, in her background, has to fake shock that something so depraved would occur.
Melinda thinks back to her own ancestry and she's like, oh, yeah.
Hold on. Lucio starts thinking back to the IDs. Were any of them similar features?
The vast majority of them were of clearly Middle American ancestry, clearly some Irish or English heritage, clearly seeking and searching. There is a type and a standard amongst them, all fair-skinned, dark or light hair, a touch of the Blarney, if you will. It is a line of women, children, who have certain ancestry, certain ancestral roots. Even amongst the non-Eurocentric, there are the names that stand out. Siobhan, spelled Siobhan. There is a surname of O'Toole or Kilkenny or Martin or all sorts of small little details. He's not been feeding and leaving them because he doesn't care. He doesn't care because he's searching for a particular lineage.
And now he's found it.
and even thinking of Redwood's daughter. Good, pale Midwestern ancestry written all over her skin. Her dark hair, her pale skin, the bluish green, clearly from somewhere north. In Europe, Irish, Scottish, English, Danish. All those little details, all those small facts. Then you reach the ground floor, and Silvio just holds the door open for everyone to step out. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but that seems like an overindulgent parent who clearly knows it's bad for the kid, but no one knows, or who cares if they have candy before bed.
You might have just hit the nail on the head.
Sophia will pat him on the cheek as she walks by and say, "Oh, my clever boy."
Yeah, I just want to point out one thing. You say overindulgent dad. Dads who teaches their daughters are British, bro.
It's if they're flesh and blood, if they were of an age, a generation apart, you can easily say that it is actually a dad sleeping with a daughter, which is disgusting on certain levels. But you're talking at least 6, maybe more generations removed. You're talking separated by kids of kids of kids. He's probably closer related to you than he is to her. But the idea of her, how you gonna tell her no without hating her more? How you gonna say don't do that? Instead, you make an excuse. Oh, you're using too much teeth. Oh, your fingernails. Oh, I'm not really in the mood right now. Maybe something else. And the little dumb, empty-headed, vacuous person that she is, she thinks it's because she didn't have the skills. She thinks that her personality is keeping him around without realizing that he's doing everything he can to not go too far, because he's got to explain at the end of the day, I'm fucking dead.
And all the time he cannot help himself because she reminds him so much of the love that he has lost before he became what he is.
I mean, that's just my guess. Not that I have any experience with anything like that, but I'm just saying, you read about it all the time in little trashy romance novels. I have swum through an ocean of time to spend time, whatever,
And to be fair, he is pirate.
Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. Right? What I do want to talk about is how this is going to go down, because, like I said, he is expecting a yes. I told him I need him to sign this letter. No questions asked. Yes, but do we really think that he is going to actually do that, or try to tell me once he gets allowed? Which is why backup plan is, so you guys can see there and take him out, or drag him to council, or whatever the fuck it is we gotta do.
Oh, he's definitely not going to go down without a fight. He's not going to make it easy. I'll be amazed if he even shows up. It's getting him to confess to Honor Mercer is the crux of it.
Why are you so worried about that one name? You have a whole bunch of other names. That's not what they said. They said get him to confess, which is period, not one specific person. Is there something going on with you in the state? Like, do you need him to confess about this one specific ass person?
Was I not? Hold on 1 second. Out of character. The mission was we had to get him to confess to the diablerie of Honor Mercer, right?
No, the mission was to get him to confess. They never said to what. The missing bodies, the carelessness, get them to confess. In other words, drum up a reason for them to execute their form of justice. They want a public spectacle. They want a reason, no matter how thin, to get rid of this embarrassment to them. Hestia knows why, but I'm not sure she's told you all. Part of her many conversations with Nash along the way highlighted why. And as you all think about that very real kangaroo court aspect of it, you all are here to potentially run in a person that is at best a sloppy eater, at worst is a serial stalker. At absolute worst is simply just another kindred like each and every last one of you. You are here to ruin a person or a kindred who has already all but ruined everything that makes them worthwhile as a person. They have already ruined their good name. They have already fallen from the heights of kindred status to being a near bottom feeder. Their instances and touches on your lives vicariously is not because they targeted you all. It's simply because they have given up a certain amount of hope. They have turned into the skid. They have accepted being the monster that they are, which, unfortunately, could be either one of you in a few years, a few months. Hell, who's to say you guys haven't already gotten there without realizing it? To what extent would you be willing to lose things of value to continue existing? To what extent would you fixate on your glory days or your lost causes or your missions to continue existing? So as you all discuss this and step into Illinois to make your way south along the path to the Smart Museum, what are you all discussing? What are you all doing? What plans are you laying?
All right, well, if we just need him to confess, then I suppose the letter alone is fine. If we want him to get to confess to anything specific,
Should have kept girl. Girl was leverage, now she is gone. He knows we do not have her. There's no reason for him to confess now. He will hide her away. We will not have another chance.
yes, do you think he's a man of his word or no?
Actually, that one's a little hard to say because when he got mad at me for impugning his tiredness, he did bring up honor and being, the man connected to the seas and all that other pirate bullshit he came up with. I mean, it could be, he would definitely keep his word. But he's also a freaking pirate, and he's also lived for a hell of a long time. And he's also learned to hide what in him he is. I mean, I would hope he would be honorable. But I wouldn't count entirely on it.
Well, do we want to swing back and get her?
We could.
Time is short now, right? Do we have time to swing back and get her?
We only been gone 10-15 minutes. 10-15 minutes back. Shoot, half an hour. Maybe we can still make it to Hyde Park without it raising too much suspicion. After all, he's got to make it there too, right?
If he intends to go, perhaps he is watch building and sees that we have leave and has taken girl.
No, I had the feeling he was across town. It's just a weird feeling I got when I was in the apartment and he answered me. You're time to go get her, but we gotta be quick if we're going to do stuff. We should send somebody to like upstairs and tell her we're inviting her back out. Or whatever you gotta tell her, but let's go get her, I guess.
She is not dressed to go out. It depends on how squeamish you are, because you realize if we bring her as leverage, we will have to come good on promise if he disagrees.
I guess when you're just double chalk up to him in the first place, because it's his fault he brought her into this life.
So when you guys pull back onto the block, do you all go get her, or does just one person head upstairs?
It is up to all of you. I am here to shadow advise. It is a hound matter.
Oh boy. Do we really want to go down this path?
To be fair, you are already on the path.
Out and goes to the call box and presses the button for the depart.
There are moments in time, frozen and crystallized by our memory. We keep going back to them often, over and over again. We go back to those small little things that could have made all the difference in the world, that could have changed our fate or someone else's. And it's usually with the eye toward changing it for the better. Seldom do we go back to those moments and say, you know, it would have probably been worth it to go ahead and slug the guy, or worse. But this is one such moment. It feels very much as if someone is tap dancing across Hestia's grave. It very much feels as if the wind is taking on a cooler touch as the bell is rung, as the silence that returns is over. What was that?
So she's waiting, there's no answer?
No. Hestia
looks back at the car and walks back to it quickly, leaning in. If something wrong, she's not answering.
Do we think... You think she's already been taken then?
She's an impulsive child with access to all sorts of alcohol at least, and who knows what other implements in there.
Are you
This one
positing that in 20 minutes she has drank herself unconscious?
Or worse.
Well, just one of us is going to have to go check. But then that person is probably going to bring himself up to an ambush if he's still here. If he's still here, then it is what it is. But we know where this place is, so it's not safe for him here anymore.
Well, what do you suggest then? One or two of us go up and check, or all of us go up and check?
I will go up.
That was my thought. He does not know you or I. He knows the rest of them.
Plus, you guys had Doja Cat in common, so she probably likes you.
So how are you guys going to get in the building?
There was a buzz-in, or
Yes,
passcode.
there was.
We'll hold down the buzzer.
There's an insistence on time that we have when we call someone or we text someone, or God forbid, in the good old-fashioned days, when you go knock on someone's window or knock on their door, ring their bell. The fact that they don't answer always made it seem as if it was a personal rebuke, as if they knew you were coming. They should have been expecting you. They should be there for your text, for your call, for your ringing of their bell. And as you ring the bell and are greeted with the silence of nothingness, how are you going to circumvent the building security and get inside and get up there to that castle in the sky?
What sort of security are we looking at?
Good old-fashioned theater. There are clearly non-working cameras. There's no desk person at this hour of the evening, because as the saying goes, there's nothing open after 2 a.m. except for legs. And there's lots of glass.
Well, we could try to pick a lock, or we could bust a window.
Normally, I would say breaking a window is easier.
Depends on the lock.
Well, one of us can walk through walls.
Well, that's certainly not me.
Perseus staring pointed at Lucio.
I believe you stepped away for a quick second.
Sophia will go examine the lock while they're sorting that out.
Next, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus larceny? +1 with Sylvia.
Absolutely, and I have a specialty in lockpicking, which I assume is also going to apply.
Yes.
Not today, it seems.
There's easy, and then there's what this lock is. It is the opposite. It's the antithesis. Stupid medical locks that are designed to keep out those who would seek to enter.
Is beyond my scope. Is not a little medicine cabinet.
Silvio shakes his head and looks left and right up the block. Then he kicks open the door, putting his foot through the glass and pulling the push bar on the inside to open it. After you.
I knew I would get it open one way or another.
So as Silvio, Miriam, and Sophia enter, what is it that Estia, Lucio, and Melinda are doing?
Any louder?
What was that?
And seriously, and she types that could be being freaking louder, and then shakes her head and goes through the door, the glass. Would the stairs be faster or elevator? Stairs with fleetness, not blink, and elevator, or the elevator.
The level of modernity for this particular building, about the same speed. There's not anyone hitting every floor button in the elevator, so about the same speed. And as everyone enters, Lucio, are you following along or are you staying with the car?
I think I'm gonna follow along with Hestia.
Okay. So are you all taking the elevator or are you all taking the stairs?
If it's not much of a speed difference, probably taking the stairs, assuming the elevator isn't already on the floor where we left it.
Plus, elevator lets people know you're coming. To the stairs they go.
So you all make the stairs. You all head up, trudging as bravely and intrepidly as you all are. It feels very much as if you are the first few souls to climb K2 or Kilimanjaro or hell, even Mount Everest, which is, decently high on the scale of things to climb, and put your flag and place your foot on the neck of history. As you all make it to the floor next to the stairwell, glancing down the hall as per your paranoia. All is quiet. And as you get closer to the door, it's slightly ajar. As if someone forgot to close it as you guys left. Clearly. Pushing the door open. All's quiet. The record player scratching along. The white noise of the recording emptiness at the end of the record just echoing off the walls. And does anyone have heightened senses of currently?
Lucio would.
Excellent. Would you be so kind to roll? What's awareness +1?
I can't see any reason that Sophia wouldn't either, because she already assumed that they weren't here.
Okay, very much the same roll.
What's an awareness +1?
Yes,
+1 dice or +1 flat bonus?
+1 die.
I'll take that.
Starting with Lucio. As the door swings open, there's a telltale sign in the air. A scent. Humans are, and kindred, for lack of a better word, are only semi-solid bags of liquid, bound and held upright by their skeletons. The scent of blood is not an uncommon one. The scent of that much blood, however, is. That much blood signifies a wound. That much blood signifies a feeding. That much blood signifies a spill. Or there should be some visible remnant of it, because droplets of blood hit the air when being fed upon. And it hits the nose and tickles that gland, that fricative palate at the back of your throat that makes you a little more hungry. Not enough to have the beast kicking down the door and demanding satiation, but it's the, I could eat. Definitely could eat. Sophia, for you, however, you are walking into a Jackson Pollock painting made with someone's insides. It is all over the place. There is a magic that is released upon death that there is no accounting for. It is a thermonuclear reaction, the amount of spiritual energy released upon death. And it is permeating the very air. It fills every corner, as if the white goat has been slain, as if the long pork has been served, and it is there just beyond reach. And unbidden, the realities of what you all have been dallying inside of and being surrounded by. This is a reliquary of time. This is someone's living memory. This apartment is filled with all of the souls touched by Nash. All of the souls brushed, coerced, groomed, and snuffed out like an overlong burning candle. Poof, there was darkness. And in that darkness, the weight of all of those souls. Your fangs extend, your eyes begin to fade and lose color as you begin to see the Shadowland so very close and calling you home. Calling to that central kernel of what all Hakata are, death incarnate. So,
well, if no one gets in the way, I will be the first one to go in.
Moving into
Just following.
So who's third?
Probably Miriam.
Moving into the apartment. That warmth that was just all over the place. That thermostat turned and maintained at a certain temperature clearly has reached its limit. The apartment is cooler by a few degrees. Already the heat evaporating through the slightly open door. And she sits facing the windows. The chair slid forward, so you have to enter fully into the apartment. The kimono still about her negligee about her legs crossed at the ankle, her hands folded in her lap. If not for the fact you all know that she was not that pale, that she was not that still, and the fact that her open eyes have already begun to slip and ease fully of life, the last spark of whatever was quickening her outside of stupidity, fading, gone. Sat so that she could have one last view of the world around her. And then her neck. Having experience with the rumors and the gossip, and Lucio having experience of the after effects of what you all believe was Nash's careless feeding. The wound on the neck is not fangs. It is not a marring, a savaging. There are two long, quick slices. One atop the other, meaning the skill and strength was there, but clearly not the heart. Two wounds where one should have normally sufficed, as if the hand behind it, despite its skill, despite its experience, did not want to, but did anyway.
Well, no reason to let good blood go to waste.
Before you start tampering with the scene, does it look like she's been actually drained of blood? Like there's not much blood there? Or does it look like someone made the wounds to look like a vampire bite and she's actually bleeding profusely?
Would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus academics for me, please?
If she's something like that, she
Just
would be just inside like a good, like you would have to come a good ways in. If she's looking for like a tripwire or something that would trigger something else. So she remembers very much what Nash is talented at and in charge of the whole board up buildings for fires and stuff, and how everybody was saying he was lighting fires. She remembers that very, very much. And the fact that he destroyed his tie to the world, or one of them, and that they have been in his place, and now he probably doesn't feel safe there. She is worried about that they are walking into an explosion.
Excellent. Would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus... Unfortunately, would you be so kind as to roll your wits plus stealth? And while Lucio, forensically, there's a lot of blood here. Forensically, it looks as if someone slit her throat. But as a kindred, more than enough experience in regards to how much it takes to drain someone dry. And images filter through Lucio's mind when he's come close. Images filters through Lucio's mind watching Hestia give a sweet goodnight to the old woman wishing for death. He knows this is nowhere near enough blood or that should have been here. There should be a pool. The window should be splattered and covered with the grit and grime of the insides of this person. And yet, there's still a lot of blood here. And that's just looking around for tripwires, for some semblance of this apartment going up, and there is none. It's as if they did this and left the apartment. It doesn't make sense. If you were destroying a boathold, if you were saying goodbye, even you would very much destroy enough that it would seem as if you were gone or had picked up stakes, or that you would trap someone there. It doesn't make sense. There's nothing about the apartment itself that is booby-trapped. The apartment seems safe.
Pausing at the door. Okay. I think it's a good thing we didn't use the elevator. This feels wrong. This psychologically feels wrong. If he wasn't planning on coming back, he would have destroyed this place. But at the same time, I don't think he could come back here without ridding it of our memory and ridding it of us being here. So I have a pretty bad feeling about we should probably not be here too long.
You said you thought Nash was across town, right?
That's what I heard in my head when I texted him. But this is his place. It does have his energy in it. That could be why I thought that.
We were gone for half an hour.
Less than.
So within the half an hour, someone came in here, killed her, and left.
I mean, it was probably him. She was waiting for him. She brought us back.
Either that, or he has other people working with him and he sent them to clean up after himself.
Or someone's trying to put the blame on us.
Which is another reason for us to not fucking be here right now.
And as you all stand around her body, discussing, having looked over the apartment, having stared out at the view is actually quite lovely. The view you get from this window is one of the better ones you've seen in the apartment. Walking through and existing here on the first floor of the apartment, especially the way that the sky looks a little orange, as if you are emanating light, like the building itself is a candle. Now, sirens in Chicago, like any other major metropolitan city, is not an uncommon sound. You can even see from this distance the glowing red and blue lights of ambulances and fire trucks, seemingly coming in your direction, but this is a big city and it's not that hard because you're right off of a main road. And those of you with heightened senses, the slight moldering in the nose from the blood everywhere, there's a dryness to it, a smoky note.
Do I smell what I think I smell?
We gotta get out.
Okay.
You ain't gonna tell me twice. She is by the door and back towards the stairwell.
Sophia will look at Silvio because she is not exactly built to run down staircases.
He doesn't even think about it. He actually picks you up around the waist, holding you as if you are a very valuable football, and begins moving. His long legs eating up the ground beneath. Careful to not trample Hestia, but just barely so.
So that was exciting.
You'll say like it's past tense.
As you all reach the ground floor, having all but flown over the steps between you and here, there and here, then and now, you exit out of the stairwell into the main lobby as several clearly elderly, clearly older individuals are making their way out. The fire team, its captain, pulling up to a stop, and you see them pointing up and looking up at the building. But somehow, in all of this minor commotion, the older persons in the building had somewhat of a head start. They'd been given roughly 12 and a half, 10 minutes of headway, of lead time to get out of the building. And they're just making their way down as the elevator finally has collected them all and they are exiting out of the lobby. You can overhear the conversation. I don't know why was anybody calling me this late. I don't even like answering my phone, let alone this stupid building pager. This is ridiculous. I will have someone fired over this. And you hear others. Oh, that was so nice. My nephew never calls. It was such a very lovely... Your nephew? That was my niece. They just... And the conversations amidst the yapping ankle biters, the Yorkie Terriers, the Yorkshires, the various dogs they are able to have, which are barely more than cats with identity crisis, as they make their way out their steps, sliding along in house shoes, some actually wearing Ugg boots. And you see a grandmother who clearly is a great-grandmother, dressed as if she is in fact a high school graduate. There are all manner of older, moneyed individuals making their way out. And as the fire team moves in, helping everyone leave, they begin to make their circuit of the building, get to the source of the fire, to find the actual source of the fire, and put it out. Save the building, save the property. As you all step out into the night sky, it lightening not due to the sun's coming embrace of day, but the building, the upper floors are completely in flames. The building should be able to be saved. But as it's already well enmeshed in the touch of fire, there are several other things going up in smoke as you all watch. Destruction doesn't have to be physical. And getting across the finish line doesn't always mean that you win. You've all accomplished the end goal of driving Nash on. You didn't accomplish the task of a confession. So, yet again, the Coterie dances across the line of the impossible and the improbable with a success of note and a mark on their souls. Do their interactions, do their efforts, do their success, another soul slips across the veil into the Shadowlands. There will be conversations. There will be moments to digest. But in this moment, as the building burns and Nash's final hidden true treasure and tied to the city goes up with it, there's a realization. If not but for the grace of God, so go I. And with that, I want to thank you all for a lovely session. I will see you guys next week. Have a lovely evening, guys.
Good night, everyone.
Night.
On bright side, girls, not leverage. Everyone have a good night.